You spend years, maybe even decades, building up your professional network.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge time investment.
Right. You go to all the industry conferences, you collect the business cards, you send those polite little follow-up emails, and it feels like you're building this massive, indestructible structure.
Yeah, but the reality is quite different, isn't it?
It really is. The reality is right now, as you're listening to this, that network you worked so hard to build is silently dying.
It's true, because professional capital is, well, it's entirely kinetic. We operate under this illusion that once we connect with someone on LinkedIn, they're just locked into our orbit forever.
Like a trophy on a shelf.
Exactly. But human relationships are subject to entropy. Without the constant injection of new energy or new touch points or just new value, that structural integrity just degrades over time.
And that degradation is exactly what we are tackling today. We have a massive stack of sources in front of us, all centered around a platform called SocialCraft AI.
Yeah, really fascinating set of documents here.
It is. We're looking at everything from their glossy product marketing decks all the way down to the raw, unfiltered back-end engineering code commits.
The fun stuff.
Right. So the mission for this deep dive is to explore the actual business value of taking relationship intelligence and fusing it directly with multi-platform content automation. We want to see what happens when you pit one unified workflow against the standard industry practice of juggling specialized tools like Buffer, Taplio, and Clay.
Right, because the modern executive they're practically conditioned to believe they need a highly fragmented app stack to survive.
Oh, for sure.
Founders and sales leaders, they're told they need one specific tool to handle their CRM, a completely separate AI application to draft their emails, and then a third, entirely disconnected scheduling tool to publish their social media updates.
It's exhausting just listing them.
It really is. And consolidating all of these distinct operations into a single engine, well, it does far more than just shave a few $100s off a monthly software bill. It fundamentally alters the mechanics of how a founder builds and maintains brand authority across their entire network.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we can even talk about how a platform automates your content or schedules your multi-platform posts, we have to understand why you actually need that content in the first place.
To stop the decay.
Exactly. It all traces back to stopping that silent death of your network. The sources detail something SocialCraft calls the half-life tracker.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting.
It is, because rather than just using a vague color coding system, the platform applies literal radioactive decay mathematics to human relationships. The system cuts a professional connection's warmth score in exactly half for every 90 days of total silence.
And this is where we run straight into Dunbar's number.
Right, the cognitive limit thing.
Exactly. Evolutionary psychology suggests the human brain is only capable of managing about 150 stable social relationships. Yet, the average founder or executive today has thousands of LinkedIn connections and email contacts.
Thousands, which is just impossible to track manually.
Right. So when you import your contacts CSV into this system, it bypasses that cognitive limit by categorizing your entire network into 3 zones. You've got green for highly active, yellow for cooling down, and red for relationships that are practically dead.
Hold on, though, because reducing a 10-year professional mentorship to an algebraic decay formula, that feels incredibly clinical. Are we really treating our peers like Tamagotchis?
Like Tamagotchis.
Yeah, those little digital pets from the 90s where if you don't click a button to field them, they just beep at you and die.
That is a great analogy, actually. And what's fascinating here is that while the mechanism is purely mathematical, it solves a deeply human limitation. We simply do not have the RAM in our brains to monitor the decay rate of 3,000 individual people.
That makes sense. We just can't hold that much data.
We can't. So by quantifying that decay, the platform removes an enormous invisible cognitive load. You no longer wake up in a cold sweat wondering if you forgot to follow up with that angel investor from 6 months ago.
Right, the system just tells you.
Exactly. It provides a daily reconnection brief, systematically preventing your high-value contacts from sliding into the red zone simply because you got busy running your company.
And feeding that professional Tamagotchi usually requires duct taping a bunch of different software subscriptions together. Let's look at the financial and operational cost of that fragmented stack because the sources break this down perfectly.
Yeah, the numbers are pretty stark.
They are. If you're an executive managing this the traditional way, you're probably paying for Clay to handle your relationship data and lead enrichment, which starts around $149 a month.
Hmm.
Then you need Taplio to write and format your LinkedIn posts, adding another $39. Then you need Buffer to actually schedule those posts across multiple platforms, which adds another $6.
So you're looking at roughly $200 a month.
$200 just for the software licenses, and you are the one doing the manual labor of making them talk to each other.
Now, contrast that with SocialCraft starting at $29 a month. The price difference is notable, sure, but the true business value lies in the workflow efficiency. Specialized tools like Buffer are inherently blind.
Blind how?
Well, Buffer is a phenomenal piece of engineering for publishing content at a specific time, but it only does scheduling. It has zero visibility into your CRM. It doesn't know who is in your red zone versus your green zone. It honestly has no idea who you are actually trying to reach.
Okay, the best analogy I can come up with here is running a high-end restaurant. Using the fragmented approach is like running a restaurant where Clay is the host at the front door, Taplio is the executive chef in the kitchen, and Buffer is the waiter.
And none of them talk to each other.
Exactly. None of them are allowed to speak to each other.
Yeah.
The host knows a VIP just walked in, but the chef is cooking random meals off the menu, and the waiter is just dropping that food onto random tables hoping someone eats it.
That's a mess.
Right. Whereas SocialCraft acts like the general manager who oversees the entire guest experience from the door all the way to the dessert.
I like that. And taking that general manager analogy further, when one system oversees everything, those contacts sitting in your yellow zone, the ones who are actively going cold, they're passively being served the exact content your engine is scheduling.
They're being warmed up in the background.
Precisely. They're seeing your specific industry insights, your video breakdowns, your hot takes in their social feeds. The automated publishing engine creates a baseline of consistent brand authority that manual cross-platform scheduling simply cannot match.
Because it's too much work to do manually.
Right. And by the time you actually send a direct one-on-one message, it isn't cold outreach anymore. The automated content kept the relationship warm while you focused on other tasks.
So if the system is keeping the masses warm with background content, what triggers the actual one-on-one human moment? Like, is the AI completely taking over my inbox, or do I still have a say when a VIP enters that red zone?
Oh, you retain total approval control.
Okay, good. Because most founders do not have a dedicated relationship manager sitting outside their office orchestrating all of this.
No, of course not. But the heavy lifting is handled by what the platform calls reconnection intelligence. When a contact hits a critical decay threshold, the AI doesn't just draft a generic "hope you're well" template.
Which we all hate getting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead, it uses a back-end integration with Perplexity, the AI search engine, to scour the web for the absolute latest news regarding that specific contact's company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it actively looks for real-time hooks. Did they just close a Series B funding round? Did they launch a new product feature? Was there a major leadership shakeup?
It finds the contextual reason for you to reach out.
It finds the reason, and then it drafts a hyper-personalized briefing referencing that specific news event.
That's incredible. And looking deeper at the source documents, there are two other internal tracking systems built into this relationship operating system. First is the reciprocity ledger.
Right.
This tracks the actual power dynamics of a professional relationship by logging who owes whom a favor. You earn points for making introductions or passing along client referrals, and you lose points if you ask for a favor.
Which is how networking actually works in reality.
Exactly. And then there's the vouch score, where you rate your contacts from 0 to 10 across 3 distinct dimensions: their professional competence, their ethical character, and the sheer depth of your relationship.
These features are designed to map the invisible economy of social capital. If a junior founder asks you for an introduction to a major venture capitalist, you don't have to pause and rely on your gut feeling.
Right.
You check the vouch score to see if this is someone you can truly stake your own professional reputation on.
Wait. How does a software system know if I owe someone a favor? Is it reading the context of my private emails to calculate this? Because systematically logging social capital and assigning character scores, that sounds dangerously close to a dystopian social credit score for the business world.
I get that concern.
Mm-hmm.
But the documentation indicates the reciprocity ledger relies on your manual inputs and tracked actions initiated within the platform's interface itself, rather than, scraping your private Gmail inbox without permission.
Okay, that's a relief. But still, rating people.
The ethical friction of assigning a numerical character score to a human being is certainly real. But the business utility is really about shifting executive efficiency. Tracking these dynamics eliminates the tyranny of the blank page.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, you aren't wasting 45 minutes staring at an empty email draft trying to calculate if you have enough goodwill to make a massive request. You check the ledger, you review the AI's heavily researched perplexity brief, you tweak a sentence, and you hit send. You transition from being a content creator to a content approver.
Wow. Okay, but keeping those individual high-value relationships warm via direct messaging is, well, it's really only one side of the coin.
True.
To maintain brand authority with the rest of your network, the thousands of people you aren't emailing today, you need to publish consistently. And this is where the platform really attempts to replace a tool like Buffer entirely.
It completely takes over that workflow.
Yeah, the sources show SocialCraft generates the content autonomously. It takes one core idea and adapts it precisely to the technical requirements of different platform algorithms. It turns a single concept into a threaded Twitter breakdown, an Instagram Reel script, keyword-rich Pinterest SEO descriptions, and it even utilizes the TikTok Direct Post API.
And that TikTok Direct Post API is a crucial technical distinction.
How so?
Well, older fragmented scheduling tools often just send a push notification to your phone saying, hey, it's time to manually upload your video to TikTok. SocialCraft communicates directly with TikTok servers. The AI renders the video asset and injects it straight into the feed natively without any human intervention at all.
That is wild.
Yeah. And the intelligence dictating what gets published is driven by two specific features highlighted in the engineering docs, Trend Scout and Authority Monitor.
Right. Trend Scout uses something called Google Search grounding to find emerging topics.
Grounding is a vital mechanism for AI reliability. Large language models are notorious for hallucinating facts.
Making things up, yeah.
Exactly. By grounding the AI in Google Search, the system forces the language model to cross-reference its internally generated text against live, top-ranking search results. If the AI's claims don't match the current search data, the system simply won't let it publish.
That's a great safeguard.
It is.
Yeah.
And Authority Monitor works alongside this by connecting directly to industry RSS feeds, allowing the AI to instantly draft and format hot takes on breaking news within minutes of a story dropping in your specific sector.
See, here's where it gets really interesting to me. If an AI is utilizing RSS feeds and Google Search grounding to autonomously generate a 14-day advanced schedule of cross-platform posts while I am fast asleep, doesn't my brand risk sounding completely robotic? Do you just surrender your authentic human voice to the algorithm?
That's the big question, isn't it? It raises an important point about the trade-off between absolute authenticity and the demands of modern visibility. The system is designed to function as an autonomous content pilot. A fragmented tool like Buffer requires constant, relentless manual feeding. If you get busy, Buffer sits empty. Deeply crafted, highly authentic thought leadership in a single post is wonderful, but absolute silence is deadly to a network.
Because they forget about you.
Exactly. The social algorithms exclusively reward consistency. It is that relentless consistency that keeps your yellow zone contacts constantly aware of your existence.
Silence is deadly to a network. I like that. But let's actually look under the hood of how they achieve that consistency, specifically when it comes to video. Because generating cinematic, professional video posts autonomously is a massive marketing promise.
Oh, it's a huge technical hurdle.
Right. And the raw engineering logs and code commits from the development team reveal exactly how a platform builds a unified multimedia engine without the servers just violently crashing.
Well, the raw logs show that during early development, the servers were, in fact, crashing constantly.
Yes. The 4K video OOM bug. OM stands for out of memory.
A classic developer nightmare.
Oh, for sure. The logs show that SocialCraft attempts to generate beautiful cinematic 4K videos on the back end. But initially, generating just a 35-second 4K video was dumping 6.3 gigabytes of raw JPEG frames into the server's temporary folder.
We have to understand why video encoding is fundamentally different from generating an AI text post. Generating text deals in kilobytes of data. A 4K video requires the server to generate and hold up to 60 distinct ultra-high-resolution canvases for every single second of footage.
It's like trying to manage a flipbook where every single page is a massive, incredibly detailed painting. The system was using Node.js, the back-end JavaScript environment, and FFmpeg, which is a standard media processing tool.
Right.
And the server was trying to hold all of those massive image files in its temporary memory simultaneously before stitching them together. The operating system saw the memory instantly maxing out past its 8 GB limit and issued a sigkill command.
It basically executed the process to save the entire server from a catastrophic crash.
Exactly, it just killed it.
And the engineering fix for this is a brilliant example of back-end optimization. They couldn't just endlessly pay for larger servers. I mean, that would destroy their profit margins.
Right, AWS gets expensive.
Very expensive. Instead, they wrote a script inside Node.js to make the JPEG compression quality dynamic based on the user's requested resolution. If a user requested a 4K render, the system automatically reduced the file size of the intermediate frames just enough to give the FFmpeg encoder the breathing room it needed to assemble the final video without hitting that memory ceiling.
That's so smart. And it wasn't just memory allocation issues. They were fighting visual rendering bugs, too. The code commits showed they utilized a video framework called Remotion.
Yes.
And they encountered a severe bug where cinematic overlays, those professional film burns and light leaks you see fading over.
Yeah, the cranny visual effects.
Exactly. Those were illegally overlapping with the hard scene transitions. It was causing the entire render to fail. The engineers had to rewrite the core logic so that the overlay itself essentially became the transition mechanism.
And on top of that, they also had to address the massive bottleneck of asset procurement.
Oh, right.
You cannot offer a fully automated video generator if the founder still has to spend 3 hours hunting down royalty-free stock footage on third-party websites.
Which is what we all do, right? Just scrolling for hours. But the sources show they integrated the Pexels API directly into the backend architecture. They built a dedicated stock tab right into the workflow. You search for a professional photo or video, and with one click, the asset downloads directly to your server-side library. You never leave the platform.
And if we connect this engineering deep dive to the bigger picture of our discussion, this reveals the true hidden cost of replacing a fragmented stack of Buffer, Taplio, and Clay.
The hidden cost of the manual labor.
Exactly. When a founder uses separate tools, they're acting as the human bridge, manually moving data and assets between systems. To replace that human bridge with a single, seamless workflow, the backend has to execute a staggering amount of heavy lifting.
From dynamic memory management during 4K rendering,
to rewriting Remotion overlay logic, to handling direct server-side API downloads. The unified workflow only feels effortless to the executive because it is incredibly complex beneath the surface.
So what does this all mean? Bringing all of these sources together, what we've seen today is that managing a professional network in the modern era is far more complex than just scheduling a few updates or storing an email address in a CRM database.
It's a completely different ballgame now.
It really is. A truly unified system like SocialCraft tracks the literal mathematical decay of your relationships over time. It autonomously researches and drafts your outreach using live data when a contact gets cold. It dynamically renders the server-side video content that keeps you visible in their social feeds in the meantime. And it executes all of this while saving founders significant time and completely replacing an expensive fragmented software stack.
The ultimate takeaway for you listening right now is that your future sales pipeline, your next major investment opportunity, your next crucial executive hire, they all currently live somewhere inside your existing network. Ignoring the half-life of those connections, allowing that professional capital to silently decay into the red zone is quite literally leaving money on the table. You need a centralized system, whether it is highly automated or entirely manual, to keep that ecosystem kinetic and alive.
Feed the Tamagotchi before it beeps at you.
Exactly.
But as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder on your own. We started by exploring the silent death of your network, and we've analyzed how a platform like SocialCraft can autonomously research your connections, draft the perfect personalized outreach based on recent company news, and generate the polished videos you see in your feed.
Right.
But if the technology is getting this robust and this commercially accessible, what happens to the entire concept of authenticity when the person you're networking with is eventually using the exact same AI engine to reply to you?